For more on the final stretch and how the polls are looking, we're joined in Ottawa by polls analyst Eric Grenier from therit.ca. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
We know Saskatchewan went blue, entirely conservative, the last federal election. How likely is that this time around?
It's still a good possibility that the Conservatives could win all of their seats, but we have seen their numbers come down, particularly as the PPC's number is going up. So for the New Democrats, for the Liberals, there are some opportunities for them, for example, in Saskatoon West or in Desnathay, Mississippi, Churchill River in the north. But if all 14 seats stay blue after the election is over, I wouldn't be particularly surprised.
What are the tightest races in Saskatchewan and what factors into them?
Yeah, I think the two that I mentioned there are the ones to really watch because we have seen the NDP do pretty well in this campaign. And a riding like Saskatoon West is one that was very close last time around. And with the numbers moving the way they have, you would expect that it could be very close this time. And the riding in the north, Desnathay, Mississippi, Churchill River, that's one where you have Buckley Boulanger running for the Liberals. It is a race that is almost very close every single time. So I don't know why it would buck the trend this one.
All right, when it comes to the Liberals, for a long time, there was that one seat in Regina, Wascana held by Ralph Goodale. He was defeated the last election. He's moved on. Has Justin Trudeau done anything since the last election to improve his favor in Saskatchewan?
Not really much of an indication of that. The Liberal poll numbers in Saskatchewan remain pretty low and just as low as they were last time. There might be a few pockets where the Liberals could do a little bit better, but Regina, Wascana, without Ralph Goodale on the ballot, you really have to say that that is going to be very tough for the Liberals. A lot of that vote was a Goodale vote, not necessarily a Liberal vote.
What are the key issues in Saskatchewan that will help people here decide how to vote? Is it the person? Is it the party?
I think in a lot of cases, it is the party. In most elections, people vote according to party brand, about the party leader, who they trust. There will be, of course, some ridings where the local candidate is very important, like the riding in the north of Saskatchewan. But in most cases, I think that people are voting according to national issues, not so much the local candidate. And when you see where things were in the last election campaign, the Conservatives are in a good spot to continue winning most of the seats, if not all the seats in Saskatchewan.
What impact will the growing support for the People's Party of Canada have on the Conservative vote?
That is the big question. We don't really know. We have seen in some polls that they could be as much as 10% support in a place like Saskatchewan. Where is that going to turn out? Is it going to be largely in the rural parts of the province where the Conservatives win by big margins anyway? Or will the PPC be able to take a few votes away from the Conservatives in ridings in Saskatoon and Regina and so make the difference? It's one of the big questions. We don't really have an answer for it. We'll have to wait till the votes are counted.
When we spoke in the provincial election, speaking of votes being counted, there was a huge advance poll turnout, lots of people voting by mail. Does that change any of the way people vote in any election?
Yeah, it could have an impact on this campaign. We've seen over 1 million people ask for a mail ballot across the country, and those will only be counted later on. So we might actually have the same kind of thing happen, which happened in Saskatchewan, where some of the ridings that might look like they're going Conservative on election night, when all the votes are counted, could end up flipping over to the Liberals and the NDP, because we are seeing that people who support those two parties are more likely to vote by mail than Conservative supporters are. So we could have the same kind of impact as in the Saskatchewan provincial election, which means we might have to wait a little while to know what the actual results of the election will be.
Finally, last few days of the big push, what are you watching?
Just late momentum. Do any of the parties build up any momentum going into the final weekend that we see cresting on election day? Will those strategic voters that are currently backing the NDP or the PPC end up going towards the big parties? Those are the big questions for me. And if there are going to be surprises on election day, it'll probably be because of what those undecided, uncommitted strategic voters decide to do.
All right. Thanks so much for this, Eric.
Thank you.